thing real quick. Dawson was waiting, had to run me down to Miami to play that thing at it.
Well, that's right. You left out here and went to Miami. Yeah.
Got down there just in time to
My voice was gone
play.
last year, if I remember.
I got down there just in time to play.
Sing.
And we
Very
got
good this
Gallery
year.
here. You ready?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Did
We
you-
got Bobby Hicks and Frank Thomas here. I just telling the camera so they know for the record. And fellas, y'all are playing together. Is this the first time you played together as the Florida Sons, or is
It sounded like it, didn't it?
Yeah, it did
I
sound
didn't
like it.
even
Yeah.
hear it, unfortunately.
Actually,
That
it's
might
not.
be fortunate.
I think the first time we played together as Florida Sons, Bill that way, was at the Florida Folk Festival, wasn't
With
it?
Jerry Lawrence was
Jerry
with us.
Lawrence
Jerry
Bullard,
Lawrence
yeah.
Bullard was with us.
They had us, they didn't know what to call us, so they said, we'll just call you the Florida Sons.
That's it.
And it fit.
Definitely.
We are sons of Florida, that's no doubt about that.
And but as far as us just playing together, I guess Manatee Springs. We played there together.
Yeah, we did play there together.
And
The Folk Festival a few times.
well, the
together.
thing is,
Here.
you know, this festival, this particular festival, you know, you know, here at Heritage Village, it's become such a great event, and so many people want to play, and they've just got so many stages, so much stage time. So, you know, it's kind of hard to drive all the way over here to play 30 minutes. I know it's pretty rough on Frank coming from the other side of Lake Wales, and so we just combine it. It gives us an hour up there, and
Well, it's such a great festival, too. I mean,
yeah.
I really enjoy coming over. The people, you know, seem to really enjoy it, and it's good. You get to meet people that you wouldn't necessarily see at other places, and there's kind of a hidden message in what we do, I think, in the music. Try to sneak up on people's blind side, you know, entertain them, but also educate them about Florida a little bit in the process. And when you meet new people and can do that, that's a good thing.
And y'all have been doing this for so long. I mean, both of you are Florida folk icons. And well, that's what we're going to call you.
Well,
And I mean, you're being modest, but really, you both are. And what do you think Florida folk is? We talk about, you know, what folk music is. Well, what makes Florida folk different?
well, you know, I think I think there's a confusion there when you say Florida folk and what we do. I'm not sure what we do you'd call Florida
music.
folk. I think what we do is write songs about Florida. The term has gotten to be used by people who live in Florida and play folk music, then that's Florida folk. The people are calling it Florida folk. What we do is not that. It's different. We're songwriters, and we write about Florida because we love it. I've been writing about Florida myself for over 30 years. Will McLean really come in and also influenced Bobby a lot too. Our roots, both of us go back to Will McLean as far as our writing about Florida. I think you would agree.
Yeah, we were
on
we
that.
were writing songs before that,
But not about Florida.
and not well. We might have written a couple
Yeah.
about Florida, but not primarily. And then it
Yeah.
just became what we did.
Yeah.
Always loved Florida. We're always proud of our roots and proud of our heritage. But Will's the one that opened the door to make Florida music, you know, just popular and interesting, I guess. He wasn't the first Florida songwriter. You know, they had a song written about, you know, I'm coming down to Florida to kill Sam Jones. They're talking about, you know, Arapaika, you know, Abieka, you know, during the Seminole War. And so it predates, you know, anything we did, you know, Will did and all that. But there's such a following now for people that write about Florida, and Frank and I being fortunate enough that the songs we write are about our actual heritage and culture. It's not something we don't have to, you know, read a book so much as to write about. In other words, what's history to some people are heartfelt memories to others, and we're most proud of Florida. And you know, we're not up in New York trying to sing the virtues of Florida, and we've got enough people down here singing the virtues of New York. So we just sing about where we're from because our home never got bad enough to leave.
You know, I was reading history there, Coe's History of Florida, and my daddy had told me a story about his family. I don't know if it was his parents, grandparents, or somebody. An event that happened to them, and they had to go up to what they call Cow Ford, it's now Jacksonville, to get something that came in on a ship. Had to have it shipped in there, and they was in a mule and wagon or oxen cart, I don't know what, but they stopped overnight at this place, and the Indians attacked the house. on and on. I was reading this and reading in this thing code written, and it was word for word the way that my daddy told me the story, you know. And I come this name Thomas in there, and I said, well, look at you there. And it was just the only difference in the account was the way my daddy told it was. He said one of the girl that got up early in the morning went down to the spring to get water. She didn't know that the Indians were out there, and they shot. Daddy's story was that they shot arrows through her skirt of her dress, and then the history was that it was rifle balls that went through her skirt, which would have been the correct way. I mean, they didn't use bows and arrows; they used rifles, and it was just amazing. You know, here it is. Somebody read that in the book. Well, my family lived it. You know, the history that we write about and things here are things that, you know, we were there. Our ancestors were there doing these things, and that's, I think, what makes it unique to us and makes us love it as much as we do. The state of Florida, I mean, because it's there's a lot more to Florida than Disney and Busch Gardens and the beaches and all that stuff. It's and you know, I'm so proud to see people like families like the Lightses and different ones that are preserving and keeping their ranches.
And the Bullards up in North Florida.
Up in North Florida. There's families, old line cracker families, ranchers that are beginning to realize what's happening to the state, and they're hanging on to their land. They're using it as wildlife. What's the word for that?
Refuges.
Not refuges, much corridors. They got wildlife corridors, and which that means that they can never develop that land. That, you know, it will stay the way it is. It's like Brahma Island over there. You know, it's
and the man in the green swamp that you know, he sold for a fraction less than the developers that offered him. Sold it to the state, you know, to make a park out of the land, so it'd always be.
Exactly.
Yeah. Some of these people realize that their birthright might be worth more than all this money they're offered, and it's just, Florida's unique. You know, remember, we're down here, we're in Florida, and all those people today, so few of them are from Florida, but they're here listening. And like I say, we're not up in New York singing. No. You know, something brought them down here. Something brought our people here.
When we took that wildcat and released it out in the green swamp.
Sure.
And, you know, old Pappy Rollerson, we went by to see him. He said, don't turn that thing loose here at my house. And but I wrote a song about Pappy's Sawmill. That song was about old Pappy Rollerson and an old wildcat sawmill he had out there in the green swamp.
Yeah, but he didn't want that wildcat around. He was afraid to eat his chickens.
Chickens, yeah. We did wildlife rehab work back when, you know, I lost my wife Ann to cancer a few years back, and years ago we did a lot of wildlife rehab work out at our house and stuff. Bobby helped us out a lot with that.
Must have been so long ago, Frank.
Yeah. I mean, the thing was about you get these wildcats and stuff like that, you bring them in, and they're badly injured. So it's not too much of a hassle to get them into a small cage, release them into a larger cage, and then nurse them back to health. But once they get healthy,
you got to get rid of them.
Now, how you gonna get him out of that cage, though? See, the only way to do it, you got to go in there on him and catch him up and put him in a smaller cage, because he ain't gonna go in there all by himself. And that gets to be a lot of fun. I'll tell you right now, it gets real interesting real quick.
I bet. You're like, did y'all have fun playing today, and what did you play?
I don't even know what we played today. We played.
We did everything from Cracker
Gold.
Cowman and Spanish Gold and Let Our Colors Be and Flatwoods of Home.
I'm Florida.
Did I'm Florida, and the Jim Blue tune, Don't Tell Mama. Did Don Groom's Winnebago.
Yeah.
Zachariah Creech, Grayton Jackson. You know, we had a wonderful time.
Yeah, I did one what would I call cracker rap. For, you know, I mean, that's just what I call it. It's just kind of talking blues, but about a cracker's worst nightmare, about some folks that moved down here. As I told the people out in the audience, I knew that the song was not written about any of them, because they wouldn't be out in a place like this. But they all probably knew somebody like that that comes down here, and
people
they just know everything there is to know about.
And they just don't get it. They just don't get it.
No.
But they think somehow, like, I don't know, I guess we're supposed to think they're like doing missionary work, coming down here to save us or something. You know, you hit it right in the song. They think we're just the bottom of the barrel, you know, no education, none of this. Oh, sorry about your all's big football hope this year, folks, but go Gators.
You know, I'm looking over at Palmetto Roots, And they're already cut and everything. Now that'd make some good pot scrubbers right there.
Oh, wow.
You take in things and yeah, you
Oh,
can.
I never even knew that.
Oh
didn't know
yeah,
that?
I think I got some in the car. I'll show you one of them.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's old crackers use them. They take that and you whittle it down and make it, and then you scrape that inside of it out, and you got all those fibers at the end of it. It's just like a Brillo pad or something. It just,
Well, you know, crackers always use those palmetto sticks, you know, to cook a hot dog or a marshmallow on, but the people from up north use those oleanders. They say it seasons it so good.
really.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Eat
don't
more
tell 'em.
oleander.
Don't tell them no different.
We used to
Thank
take
you,
the
Jim.
warning signs down on the causeway.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I got noise out of it if I could just play it. Hey, the mic's on, I think. How are you folks doing? Having a
How
good
about this
time
weather?
today? Well, you bear with us here for what, about an hour. Then you probably get to hear some pretty good music. But
That's it.
we're just a couple old Florida crackers that love Florida. Write songs about it.
It's not pulled up under there, folks. I cut it off again.
Bobby got a little bent out of shape because he introduced me first. I said, that's because I'm the oldest and I'm the prettiest.
Yeah, that's it, Frank. First they were just going to introduce me because they didn't even know where you were. What you want to do?
Dale, are you ready?
All right. What are you
Yeah,
going to do, Frank?
they having that Gasparillo this mess down there in Shuffle in town.
Oh, can I tell them about that song?
Yeah, tell them about that song.
Frank wrote this song called Spanish Gold, and I heard him and Ann doing it, and he talked about with men like Gasparillo.
Kept his mouth shut and didn't say nothing.
I didn't say a damn word. Jim Ballou was alive then, did the engineering on the album. They went over there and recorded this thing. I waited till they got it all recorded and stuff.
And released.
As men like Gasparillo. and then, sure enough, the Ye Mystic crew hired him to go over there and play during Gasparillo, of course. And, of course, that's still the name of the island, you know, the Gasparilla, not Gasparillo. But the man's name was Jose Gaspar. And now some there's a Spanish faction in Tampa that says he never existed. But when I was young, we never understood Jose Gaspar to be Spanish. He was Portuguese. And so now they've I don't know if you all watched the news yesterday. They found a couple of pirates' graves over in Woodlawn Cemetery. Of course, you know, you look around Tampa and some of them older cemeteries, you see a lot of pirates' graves, you know.
Someone probably got Hicks on the name.
That's it. But anyway, I waited till Frank was getting ready to go down to the yacht club and do that song for the Mystic crew. I said, Frank, it's Jose Gaspar. And I won't tell you what Ann said to me, but Frank wasn't real happy about it either. So.
Then you wonder why I called you and asked you if you're going to Jim Billy's funeral.
Well, just one of
You
those
just
things.
wonder why, don't you? The Gulf Stream brings the warm waters up from Mexico. It brought the Spanish galleons many years ago.
Men like Jose Gaspar and their bloodthirsty crews, where they stash the loot, nobody knew.
Many men have searched, some have died, we're told. They all had a dream to find the Spanish gold. Spanish gold, hidden somewhere in the Florida sand. Spanish gold can make a poor beach bum a wealthy man. Turn a warm heart cold, make a young man old. Spanish gold. Around the mouth of the Mississippi, from Mobile to Cedar Key, hidden somewhere in that sand is waiting there for me.
Maybe in the mangrove swamps around old Tampa Bay, or the 10,000 islands, for I've heard some people say, offshore from Miami, where those Gulf Stream waters flow, hidden there beneath the waves, just where nobody knows. Some have searched for treasure. I messed it up.
are lying near a reef, not far from old Key West. I'll dive the clear blue water till I find that Spanish chest.
Sorry about that, Frank.
Spanish gold hidden somewhere in the Florida sand. Spanish gold can make a poor beach bum a wealthy man. Turn a warm heart cold like a young man old. Spanish gold. Spanish gold.
Big debut, and I messed it up. Do it, Frank. You're rolling.
Yeah, well, you know.
Tell them about your family, Frank. You know, last time you were here, you got about halfway through a song, you started calling other people up, said you're too weak to sing.
Yeah, well, that's about right.
Just tell them about Francis Drake.
Well, you know, some say he was a pirate, others say he was just a privateer. Now, I'm not quite sure exact year it happened, but he was out prowling around, and he sails into old Matanzas Bay up there and raids St. Augustine, burns it to the ground. He's in there looking for gold. He expected all that gold and silver coming up out of Peru and Mexico. He figured them ships would be stopping along there in St. Augustine, and they had it all stored up in there. And it didn't turn out quite the way he expected it to, but it didn't much matter to the folks there in St. Augustine, I guess, whether he was a pirate or a privateer or what he was. When the people saw him sailing in to old Matanzas Bay, well, they knew he was up to no good, and the records clearly say they had all their possessions and quickly disappeared. As word spread throughout the town, Sir Francis Drake is here. For goodness sake, it's Francis Drake, he's coming on the run. His sails are full of wind, he's a sporting heavy gun. Just listen to those cannons roar, the people filled with fear. Sir Francis Drake the pirate, or was he just a privateer? Well, he comes waltzing into town with just one thing in mind. All that gold and silver he knew he would find. He'd load his ships with Spanish loot, head 'em out to sea, then sail on back to England. What a hero he would be. For goodness sake, it's Francis Drake, he's coming on the run. His sails are full of wind, he's sporting heavy gun. He's robbing old St. Augustine, and people filled with fear. Sir Francis Drake the pirate, was he just a privateer? They hid out in the woods, these citizens of Spain. Who knows, this British pirate could be totally insane. And the garrison was just too small, send off in attack. The city stood defenseless, Francis Drake was sacked. He turned that town upside down, his treasure to reveal. But a small payroll is all he found, nothing else to steal. By now he's getting mad, cause everybody knows about that gold and silver coming up from Mexico. Wait, this town should learn some manners. That's no way to treat a guest. Go running off like that and hiding their treasure chest. He'd teach this town a lesson, he'd burn it to the ground. They'll show respect the next time Francis Drake comes around. For goodness sake, it's Francis Drake, he's coming on the run. His sails are full of wind, he's sporting heavy guns. He's burning old St. Augustine, those filled with fear. Sir Francis Drake the pirate, was he just a privateer? Well, privateer or pirate, it all seemed the same. When Francis Drake sailed away, the city was in flames.
Go get a chair? Go get a chair, Frank. You want me to get you one?
Yeah, give me a chair.
Okay, hang on. I've got a short cord here. Dale's gonna help you out, Frank. Yeah. Do I need to sit down too?
I'll tell you what, it's hell to get old and dilapidated and out of breath. No, Bobby's gonna sing a tune or two here while I catch my wind.
You know, we're gonna have to refigure this pay schedule. You keep doing this. Yes, I'm a little bit of everything. Seen so many flags unfurled. Someone still remembers. They come to see us from all over the world. I'm the Spanish moss hanging from the live oak tree. I'm what's left of the panther and the old manatee. I'm an eagle in flight, I'm the ocean's road. I'm Florida, need I say more? I'm Florida, need I say more? I'm the ghost of the Spaniard at the fountain of youth in old Augustine by the sea. Down around Brighton, I'm a Seminole Indian who somehow through it all still walks free. I'm the sunburned face on that old Key West calm, watching hurricanes from down on Duval Street. I'm a tarpon jumping down in Chuckaluskee where the Gulf and the Everglades meet. I'm the coat of gray my great-grandfather wore when in the fields at Alusty they fought. I'm the roar of the Cumberland Sons mill at Lacucci, as vanished as the cypress they saw. Apalachicola oysters, and I'm Crystal Spring. I'm Cousin Thelma Bolton, and God bless Will McLean. Forest Green, and I'm Golden Shores. I'm Florida, need I say more? I'm Florida, need I say more? Weathered skin of the Arcadian cowboy riding fence on Ike's brother's herd, or canoe trip down the Myakka where the gators still left undisturbed. Coral's still alive out in Hicks Brothers Bay in a secret place only Ricky and I know. I'm the citrus getting ripe in the sunshine in Ben Hill Griffin's frostproof grove. Water's once clear as a swimming pool, though fewer than there used to be. Though it'll never be like yesterday, you can still catch a fish safe to eat. Better hurry, take a look around me, I'm sure you'll agree. Florida's the best of the land of the free, with all of the good life right here at our door. I'm Florida, need I say more? I'm Florida, need I say more? I'm a Spaniard, and I'm Frenchman, and I'm British, and I'm an Indian, I'm forest, and I'm swamplands, opportunities for all men, proud as can be when I roar. I'm Florida, need I say more? I'm Florida, need I say more? Tried to give that song to Frank, he wouldn't have anything to do with it.
I wasn't gonna mess up a good song. I tell you, that old boy, you know, he grows his hair real great and long, and then I'll tell you what he does with it. He cuts it all off and donates it to Locks of Love for these kids that are getting chemotherapy to lose all their hair. That's something to say about who this old boy here is. He's kind of rough and gruff on the outside, ain't much to look at, but he's got a big old heart on him, I'll tell you that.
Well, let's lighten it up.
We don't light it up with.
I mean, that's pretty heavy on everybody, Frank. They're trying to enjoy themselves.
You know,
that's good.
Yeah, there's some Camels. You know what? I quit smoking for 7 weeks, I think, something like that. Of course, that's the easiest part of it. I've been smoking for over 50 years. And I give them up. I smoke them old Camels without a filter. And they're Lucky Strikes. And I quit for right at 7 weeks, and then Christmas come. And that's the worst time of year for me. And I don't like Christmas, never have. Think about it. You know what? You go out and you work and you slave and you save your money up all year, and you go out and you buy presents for the young'uns, you know, for your kids or your grandkids and all that stuff. You go, you put up a Christmas tree, you wrap them up, you put them underneath there. Young'uns run out there Christmas morning, go to ripping open them presents and stuff, and somebody say, "Ooh, who give you that?" Santa Claus. No, not dear old dad or grandpa. No, Santa Claus. I don't like Christmas. Oh, Bone Mizell was a character that was here in Florida. I just bring him down some more.
The gift thing's got nothing to do with Christmas, but that's all.
Well, I know it don't. That's why I don't like it.
Okay.
And yeah, that's not about all that stuff. It's but Bone Mizell.
Too many lumps of coal he got in his stocking. That's what that story comes from, folks. That's obvious.
I'll tell you what I did get one time when I was a little kid. We didn't have electricity or nothing. We had a fireplace. And it was kind of cold that Christmas. It had a roaring fire in it. And I'd got up and was sitting there right beside the fire, and I got, I think, 1 or 2 presents. And my sister Vivian, you know her,
sure,
was sitting there with me, helping me open up the presents. And I opened up, it looked like a shoebox. And I ripped that thing all apart and opened it up, and just as I pulled the lid off, Vivian said, "Oh, looky there, somebody give you moccasins." Boy, in the fire they went. I mean, you know, what do you think about moccasins? You think about snake. And, you know, when she tried to snatch them out of there, but it was too late. That was my Christmas present. I threw it in the fire and burned it up. All because, you know, she said somebody give you a pair of shoes. You know, I'd probably still had them and cherished them today. But no, she said that somebody give you moccasins. And the only moccasin I knew anything about was a cottonmouth. And
I can't believe I'm up here with you. I've ridden down the road with him at a high rate of fuel consumption with him behind the wheel. I'm beginning to think maybe I was blessed.
Oh, we was up there one time in White Springs, riding around them back roads and having a good old time, and the water's kind of high in the ditches, and here comes this old turtle out crawling across the road. And we stopped, and Bobby got out and picked him up and carried him over and put him in the ditch out of the way. So got back in the car, and we drove on another 4 or 5 miles that around and come back around. Here's a turtle coming up across there. And I said, "Boy, Bobby, that turtle is quick. Ain't he? Look here. He's done made it over here." And Bobby looked back and thought about that thing for just a minute. Yeah, he did. He thought that. He thought about it for a minute.
He made it in town before we did.
Still a cow that. His beard may be stubble like a cut over sugar cane field. His clothes may be dirty, but the look in his eyes lets you know he won't heal. He's from a breed that has died. He has survived in the world he once knew is gone. He's an old cracker cowman existing a long way from home. And dirt bikes scream over land that used to be scrub cow trails. And interstate highways have taken the place of old Mr. Flagler's rail. And condos rise from the land and space shuttles fly. And the old cracker cowmen don't know how it all passed him by. Oh, Bone Mizell, he's gone, but the legend lives on. Jake Summerlin and old Sam Keene beginning and ending of an era now gone. And men like Doc Norman somehow let the bottle get 'em down. These old Florida cowboys are like eagles tied to the ground. And dirt bikes scream over land that used to be scrub cow trails. And interstate highways have taken the place of old Mr. Flagler's rail. And condos rise from the land and space shuttles fly. And the old cracker cowmen don't know how it all passed them by. The old cracker cowmen don't know how it all passed them by. Thank y'all. You know, we did both of those. Got some CDs here. If you want to take some of that music home with you, it's a good sanitary way to do it, as Daryl and Caudell used to say. And might be the only way you get to hear me here for a good while, because I'm getting to the point where I can't hardly do it anymore.
Let's do a couple from friends of ours that aren't here with us anymore, but they're still very much here with us, but you just can't see them quite as fast today. Friend of ours, Jim Blue, went out to Texas, went this Texas Songwriters Contest. This boy had a song out there called Don't Tell Mama I'm a Truck Driver. She thinks I'm just a piano player in a house of ill repute. And the song just didn't work. You know, it just wasn't one of those kind of songs you'd catch yourself, you know, singing on the elevator and stuff like that. And not that any of you work anywhere that has an elevator, but anyway. Yeah. So he sat down with the boy, and they kind of worked it out, and they changed it to Don't Tell Mama I'm a guitar player. She thinks I'm just in jail. So. Don't tell Mama I'm a guitar picker. She think I've lost my mind. Mama knows where guitar goes. Trouble's close behind. I could fight, drag, and rob a bank or raise all kinds of hell. Don't tell Mama I'm a guitar picker. She thinks I'm just in jail. Don't tell Mama I'm an old folk singer and singing them cowboy songs. She'll scream and cry and wonder why her baby boy went wrong. She'll boo-hoo and turn all blue, even cuss my pa. Daddy was a guitar man, the wildest one of all. Yeah, my daddy picked a guitar and he run with old Bob Wills. He played them Texas honky-tonks and chased them Lone Star girls. Tell Mama swore she'd leave him if he didn't mend his fence. He stashed that flat top under the bed, picked on Mama ever since. I swiped my daddy's guitar and I run away from home. Now I'm up in Muscle Shoals playing all night long, doing like old Hank Dunn, having me a ball. Mama's sitting by the phone just waiting for my call. Don't tell Mama I'm a guitar picker. She think I've lost my mind. Mama knows where guitar goes. Trouble's close behind. I could fight, drink, and rob a bank or raise all kinds of hell. Don't tell Mama I'm a guitar picker. She thinks I'm just in jail. Don't tell Mama I'm a guitar picker. She thinks I'm just in jail.
Yeah. Yeah, boy.
Actually, that song was supposed to be finger picked, you know, like a. But
You can't pick like Jimmy Blue,
no,
can you?
Can't. Old
Can't pick
Jimmy
like-
Blue would sit there. Gamble be over there smoking that guitar. I mean, just working it hard, and Jim Blue be there. I mean, it just looked like he wasn't even playing, and all that music coming out of that guitar.
Old Gamble got telling me one time about he'd learned this Sheik Araby, how to pick it on the guitar, And he really labored over it. I mean, he learned to play it, just really well. But it took him a couple of years. And he was doing a workshop with Merle Travis somewhere, and he
Philadelphia Folk Festival.
I think it might have been. And he worked up the nerve. He said, "What do you think about this, Merle?" And he played it for him, and Merle nodded. He said, "Yeah, that sounds pretty good there, son. But if you play that thing up there in A, it just sort of plays itself." Yeah. Oh boy. This song, I guess, for want of a name of a style of music, I just have to call this stuff cracker rap.
C-R-A-P.
Yeah.
That's the abbreviation on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got you right.
This song is not about anybody that's here today, I'll guarantee you that, or you wouldn't be out here in these conditions if it was. But I bet you that you probably know somebody who this song was written about.
He's talking about the people come down here every year and don't have a good time.
Yeah, yeah.
He's talking about the people that come down here every year and tell us about how everything's bigger and cheaper and more wonderful where they come from. He's talking about the people that come down here and they just wake up and spend every waking moment trying to make your day miserable. We're talking about the ones that are riding in the left-hand lane with a turn signal on for a turn they're never going to make, and they're asking directions to places that they ain't going to go.
Like go make 3 lefts?
Oh, when they ask me directions, like when they stop and they say, "Which way to Busch Gardens?" And I tell them, and then they want to argue. Obviously, they saw the sign said Busch Gardens. They missed the turn or they haven't gone far enough, so I'm trying to tell them how to get there. And they think they've already been there, so they say, no, I just came that way, you know. So finally I say, yeah, you're right, you caught me. I tell them to hang their first 3 rights, and then I wave at them when they go back by.
Our population is growing too fast. I think that's a mistake. And some of the people who are moving here are a little bit hard to take. Some of them are so dad-blame smart, or at least they think so. But where they learn so doggone much, well, I'll never know. But they know all about this place and everything is wrong. They can straighten the whole mess out, and it wouldn't take them long. Well, they'd have to show us how to drive, what flowers and trees to grow, because the crackers are all a bunch of idiots. That's why we talk so slow. They know for a fact every cracker is a bigot and a fool, while all of us are illiterate. No cracker's ever been to school. Oh, we talk against development. What more proof do you need? For that's what happens when fools like us are allowed to interbreed. Yeah, the cracker is to be pitied, but they're here to help us out, and they'll do their best to show us what Florida's all about. Now, when I hear this, it makes me want to get a rope and have a lynching. But when they start in on the wildlife, my stomach really starts wrenching. Well, it scares me to think what would happen if they could have their way, because sometimes I can't believe what I hear these people say. Yeah, this wildlife is a serious threat. There's no denying that. And if something isn't done, it'll take over our habitat. Well, these crackers just don't understand how vicious these animals are. Well, these armadillos will run out in the road and try to attack your car. And they're getting so bold you never know where one of them might be. Why, a squirrel was in our neighbor's yard, right there in his tree. And the other night we was sitting around down by the condo pool when that green hideous thing jumped right up on my footstool. When that dumb cracker maintenance man finally heard our screams, he identified it as a tree frog. It still gives me bad dreams. Oh, our women and children will never be safe with these things lurking around. Well, maybe environmentally safe. Poison can be found. And these swamps will have to be filled in. That's the only thing to do. Because they're harboring that wildlife, that dreaded tree frog too. Oh, but before too long, the woods can all be cleared. With condominiums from coast to coast where our friends can move down here. When they start this talk, it makes my whole body start to shake. Now, I can just imagine what'll happen if they ever see a rattlesnake. But what puzzles me is why they ever moved down here. You'd think they'd find them a safer place to spend their retirement years, especially with them so smart. Why, they must have PhDs. But I guess you gotta be smart to work at a northern factory. But the more I think about it, well, the better I can understand why they think the cracker is the dumbest form of man. But we are not as puzzled and confused as we appear. Talking to them, our minds fade out and their mouths drop out of gear. I'll admit, I get tongue-tied. You'd think I was under a spell. So the only thing I can think about is I don't know where it is you come from, but I sure know where you can go.
Well, Frank, you start doing music like that, they're going to start saying you're a little radical.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
it'll happen.
Cracker.
You got to remember, this was the first, this festival, not this year, but several years back. This was the first county, city, any type of municipality.
They let you back into this
They
area.
let me come back into Pinellas County,
Yeah, they run him
After
out
I
here.
played that thing over there in Clearwater, the mayor said I'd never play in Pinellas County again. But she's not mayor anymore. I guess they heard about it. But I just want to thank Harvest Village and Harvest Village. What am I thinking? You're thinking I'm at the church now. I'd like to thank Heritage Village and all you good people for supporting this festival and
thank you for coming
and all
out.
the wonderful people that work here behind and in front lines and behind the lines, and Dale Weber running sound that allow a couple old folk musicians to come out here and play a little stuff about where we're from. And folks, I know a lot of y'all ain't down here for the year, and I know a lot of you that are. You're not from here, but that's fine. You've embraced this area, and this area embraces you. You're here to have a good time, and we want you to have one. So if we ever say anything up here that offends you, might want to listen to the whole thing and see, once you moved down here, you became part of this culture. That's you might not become part of my culture, but you've become part of this culture, and I know how it works. That first group of condos over there on the Gulf that I fought so hard, they're trying to hire me now to get me to come stop the next row of condos from building between them and the damn beach because it's cutting out their view.
Yeah, they done got cracker-fied, didn't they?
So instead of doing the condo song, I really like this song Frank just did, and to do another song by someone no longer with us, I'd like to do a song by Don Grooms.
Okay.
It's about a phenomenon you notice took place every year when the snow started to fall, and then in the spring it all turned around, went back up north again, and it's called them gall darn Winnebago.
What can you do?
See? They got the old CB and the color TV in every third car on the road. It's Ma and Pa from Saginaw and their gall darn Winnebago. If the shoe don't fit, don't try to wear it, folks. Just enjoy the song. You can hear them as they roll down the highway as they yell breaker, breaker 19. But they only stop to buy what they call pop and to pump out the sewer line. Decals on the window tell you where they've been. The bumper tells you where they're bound. Hit the KOA, then they hit the hay, and their feet never touch the ground. They got their old CB and the color TV in every third car on the road. It's some old man from Michigan and his gall darn Winnebago. Michigan's an old Indian word, too. Means can't drive. Well, Winnebago, as we all know, that's an Osage Indian name. It means standing stagnant, putrid water. How's that for a claim to fame? But the Sunshine State thinks they're just great and they smell just like a rose. Bureaucracy from Tallahassee just loves them Winnebagos. The old CB and the color TV in every third car on the road. Some reprobate from the garden, Winnebago. For all you out there like to ride on two wheels like me, you know what it's like. Used to be you could ride about anywhere in Florida, and as long as you weren't blocking the road, you could stop for the night. Well, you can't go around laying on the ground in a sleeping bag in just your clothes. Cops will take you in unless you're from Michigan and you're a Galder in Winnebago. I'd love to ride for hours in the land of flowers, the home of the Seminole, and never see one man from Michigan and his Galder in Winnebago. You've seen them. They got their old CB and the color TV in every third car on the road. It's Ma and Pa from Saginaw. Now, you have seen them, right? Like I said before, they're running along that left-hand lane 45 miles an hour on the interstate. They got a turn signal on. It's been on since they left Detroit. They're throwing trash out the window. They got a bunch of grandkids up in the back making faces and shooting birds at you. They got a sign on back says no job, no phone, no money, no brains, something like that. They got a seatbelt hanging out the door, making sparks on the pavement, trying to read a road map. And they're Galder in Winnebago. Frank, we still got time. Just go on there.
What do you want to do? Can we do the Flatwoods, you think?
Go ahead and do Flatwood.
You have to back me up a little bit
Tell
on
them
this.
about it.
Well,
But you don't have to yell.
why?
They got this microphone and PA system to save your voice.
Well, modern marvels, what do you say? My family's been here in Florida since about back in the 1790s. Now, my daddy was born in 1882. He was 60 when I was born, and going back to, actually he was 61, I guess, when I was born.
Well, which was it?
Well, I guess he was born 1882, and I was born 43, so that'd make him 61. When,
okay.
Yeah, probably 60 when I was conceived. We'll put it that way. That makes it a little easier.
Too much information, Frank. Go on.
I would tell you the story about how that happened, but
Frank.
I better not.
Frank.
We're a mixed company.
You don't want him to start talking about his family, folks. He starts talking about some of their names, and it's just something you don't want to be around.
Anyway, my great-granddaddy fit in the Seminole Wars and in that great war in Northern Aggression. He was there at Old Lusty. And my great-grandma drew a pension from the time he was in the Indian Wars, I guess, and got a homestead or something out of it. I don't know. But anyway, that's just a couple of generations removed from me. My daddy raised me up telling me stories about what he heard from his parents and all, you know. Now, both of my grandparents on both sides were alive back during that war. And, you know, that's, if you think about it, that's kind of remarkable. For people alive today that can say their grandparents were living during the war between the states, or during the Great Unpleasantry, the recent one. Anyway, my great-granddaddy went on up north and was at the Battle of Cold Harbor with General Lee. He was wounded. A minie ball hit him in the thigh. I guess by today's standards, it would have been a minor wound. And anyway, it ended the war for him. They sent him home. Now, he left a wife and 6 kids back here in Florida. Well, the crackers didn't really call Florida Florida so much as they called it the Flatwoods. The Flatwoods of home back here. And I could just imagine him on the train, poking along through those hills of Virginia, dreaming about his family he'd left behind, trying to make it back to him. As I dream tonight of my home in Florida, I know my family misses me. As his train pokes along through the hills of Virginia, it's those flatwoods of home I long to see. I can still smell the smoke of battle, and I know we fought a good fight at a place called Cold Harbor, Virginia, where many good men gave their lives. I guess for me this war is over. Yankee minie ball send me home. Lord, I miss my wife and family. Seems like years I've been gone. And as I dream tonight of my home in Florida, I know my family misses me. As this train pokes along through the hills of Virginia. It's those flat woods of home along the sea. My great-granddaddy, William Thomas, was one of the many wounded soldiers on the train headed home, but he didn't make it. He developed lockjaw and died on the train. But he left a legacy that will live on in the hearts and minds of those who remember the Confederate soldier, and in the descendants of his children who still live in his beloved Florida home. As I dream tonight of my home in Florida, I know my family misses me. As his train pokes along through the hills of Virginia, it's those flat woods of home I long to see. It's those flat woods of home I long to see. I probably should stand up to do this song, but
Explain to them.
yeah, you know, as I say, my family's been here a long, long time, and my roots are real deep here, and I have some ties to that Confederate flag. Now, I'm not standing here telling you that flag ought to be used as a symbol of any government, state, local, or anything else. I'm not saying that. I think that flag should be put away, and it upsets me to no end every time I look in a newspaper or see on television some damn hate group parading around waving the Confederate flag. That's not what that flag's about. That's not their flag to desecrate, you know, and I'm telling you to let our colors be. There's a flag that once flew over Dixieland. It always flew with pride and dignity. My great-granddaddy gave his life fighting for that flag, and it means a lot to my family and to me. It's a standard of the Southland, a tribute to the memory of the brave Confederate soldiers who died. That flag stands for honor. It belongs to the Southern people, and may we always remember it with pride. But now our flag is being desecrated, fouled by filthy hands and defamed. Our flag has come to symbolize bigotry and hatred, disgrace, dishonored, and shame. The Southern Cross never hid behind a hooded mask, and neither did Robert E. Lee. Our Confederate soldiers didn't fight and die for the Nazi Party, and that flag's not yours to desecrate, so let our colors be. That flag was at Manassas when Francis Bartow fell, and Jackson's line stood like a wall of stone. It saw the horrors of Fredericksburg, Chancellorsville, and Cold Harbor, but through it all our flag was proudly flown. At the Battle of Gettysburg, it saw our army in retreat. When Atlanta burned, it heard the Southland cry. Our flag was shown respect by Grant at Appomattox when Lee had to tell his troops goodbye. At the victory party, Lincoln had the band play Dixie in honor of those brave men who died, fighting for that flag and the Southland they love, and may we always remember it with pride. The St. Anne's Cross never hid behind a hooded mask, neither did Robert E. Lee. Our Confederate soldiers didn't fight and die for a bunch of skinheads. That flag's not yours to desecrate, so let our colors be. and the stars and bars never stood behind the burning cross, and neither did Robert E. Lee. My great-granddaddy, he didn't shed his blood for the Aryan nations, so find yourself another symbol for your hate and bigotry. You have no claim to our Confederate flags, and let our colors be.
Way up in northern Florida, not far from Alabama, was Drayton Jackson. He's a Florida backwoods man. Like three daddies come before him, makes his living from the land. Minds his own damn business, but he'll help you if he can. I was cruising old Highway 90 in the heat of a July day. I seen an old Jimmy broken down just east of Bonifay. I offered the driver up a ride. He answered with a smile. Said it's a long way to Miller Crossroads, but I'll make it worth your while. Well, I said I was on vacation, set out to clear my mind. I'd have left my watch in Tampa. I wasn't pressed at all for time. He said, Tampa's a long, long way from here. I've never been south of Perry. He stopped to take a sip from a pocket flask he carried. So he offers me that bottle, saying this here ain't store-bought, but it's good for what ails you from arthritis to whooping cough. So being the fool that I am, well, I'll take some big old sip, then turns to it not to burn him with the flames coming from my lips, singing, sometimes it ain't so bad, sometimes it ain't so good. I takes it all in stride, cause my living's in the woods. Ain't got much crime or violence, we never had no drugs, but the moon comes through the pines in mason jars and gallon jugs. He said that's Jackson whiskey, been making it 100 years. I was trying hard to hear him through the buzzing in my ears. He said, you got to learn to sip it, son, or it'd set you right on fire. I figure it's about 190 proof, and it just don't get much higher. By now, I was breathing normal again. In fact, I was feeling fine. First time my sinuses had been clear since 1969. He started looking around my van when he noticed the guitar case. He said, you'll have to do us a tune when you get out to my place. He said life gets pretty busy with a wife and 7 kids, but I never had to look back twice on anything I did. If my family's needing something, or liking a little cash, I just runs off in the pines and I runs a little sour mash, singing, sometimes it ain't so bad, sometimes it ain't so good. I takes it all in stride, cause my living's in the woods. Ain't got much crime or violence, we never had no drugs, but the moon comes through the pines and mason jars and gallon jugs. Well, that crossroads more just a place on the map than it was any kind of a town. Might as well have been blindfolded for all the roads that put me down. Well, we finally came to Graydon's place out in them old pine woods. I realized that in 100 years the Jacksons had done good. As if he could read my mind, he said I'd better explain. We got a lot of money, they needed right away for the train. But Daddy never let it change him claims. A man needs to work for a living. Who could want anything more than what this land's been given? So we put the money on back in case our kids ever want to get away. Good enough for my dad is good enough for me, so I just reckon I'll stay singing. Sometimes it ain't so bad, sometimes it ain't so good. I takes it all in stride, cause my living's in the woods. Ain't got much crime or violence, we never had no drugs, but the moon comes through the pines and mason jars and gallon jugs. I stayed with them almost a week, by then I could understand why a man with $1 million still scratched a living from the land. He had 7 kids that loved him, and his wife set the table well. I tell you, if it got any better than this, then God would have kept it for himself, singing, sometimes it ain't so bad, sometimes it ain't so good. I takes it all in stride, 'cause my living's in the woods. Ain't got much crime or violence, never had no drugs, but the moon comes through the pines and mason jars and gallon jugs. Way up in northern Florida, not far from Alabama, there's Grayton Jackson, he's a Florida backwoods man. Like 3 daddies come before him, makes his living off the land. Minds his own damn business, but he'll help you if he can. Two, I did one, did 2 again. I like this. I'm really milking you this time. Do another one. Known a lot of commercial fishermen in my life. Knew the Nashes, who started out. They had a big sailboat to leave where the rail head was over there in Pinellas, well, St. Pete over there where the $1 million pier is now. They leave out of there. Sailboat would pull a bunch of little skiffs along, and they'd let them out, and they'd go out and work their nets through the day, and all the way up to now where they send a satellite around and photographs the water, and they see what color the water is, know how deep the school is and where it's at, and the current moving, where they'll be moving, which I think that's, I don't really think that's fishing anymore. That's just harvesting. But so many things were learned along the way. You know, like Frank was talking about, those crackers might not be as stupid as you think we are. They had these boys out there working that bay back then. They'd carry a jug of water with them and a block of salt. And in the course of the day, they'd lick that salt and take a slug of that water. And then they had boys up in North Florida working turpentine, and they'd carry a jug of water and a little jar of honey. In the course of the day, they'd take a slug of that water and a little taste of that honey. And both of them had some type of citrus to eat, be it an orange, or grapefruit, whatever. Well, then they had these scientists came down there to Gainesville. They paid them a hell of a lot of money to take the water and mix it with the sugar and the salt and the citrus, and they called it Gatorade, and you all bought it. Of course, I've been wondering about y'all anyway. You never saw a cracker pay no $1 to see an alligator. Hell, we got restaurants now where people pay money to eat one, Frank.
I know it. I wrote a song about that.
People pay money to eat an alligator. Oh. But for the commercial fishermen here today, and those of you whose father or your grandfather, somebody came in this bay, they were working that water. And if you've been spared that life, that's because somebody before you really worked hard at it. And in memory of them. Zachariah Creech wasn't just another shrimper, docked his boat at Cedar Key. A few things about him made him a little different than those other sons of the sea. He trawled the Gulf since he was 10 years old and Tortugas to Tampico, where he'd done some time back in 29 for hauling whiskey out of Port St. Joe. Yeah, he looked to be as old as the water that had etched his face in line. The Gulf was his mother, the wind was his father. Zachariah Creech was a friend of mine. I used to see him at the docks in Crystal River, the bars down in Tarpon Springs, drink Canadian mist neath the moon of silver. At night sometimes he'd sing. He sang of the days when the money came easy, it had a family and a home. Well, Then he sang of a hurricane that came, left old Zach alone. Yeah, he carried the loss upon his shoulder from this old storm back in '33, when he drowned his sorrow in the whiskey, the sun and the wind and the sea. He reminisced about days on Tampa Bay, back when a shrimper still had respect. He said a man of the sea was somebody then. You could judge us by the way we run our nets. It's a dying art, he used to tell me. Well, nobody wants to learn it all anymore. But nowadays it's all electronics. They use to rape the ocean's floor. He said I only trawled enough to make a living. Now they're making 3 trips to my one. They're taking a lot more than the water is given. Won't be nothing left at all in the dump. Now you go into supermarkets and people are selling seafood. No wonder the shrimper can't make a living. I mean, some of them boys can't hardly give them shrimp away at dockside, but y'all going down the store, you buying those big tiger striped shrimp, they say farm raised. Do you know what that means? They're not raised in this country. They're raised in countries that don't have EPA. Yeah, y'all think you're doing so good down there? Well, you're putting a local boy out of work. You're putting him out of his house and home and his boat is what you're doing. And in return for it, oh, you're going to pay the price. Those ones that say Thailand, I know that big shrimp farm in Thailand is old Union Carbide battery plant. That's the settling ponds they're raising those shrimp in. So when you're the first one in your family to die from some disease, yeah, maybe you got there by that food you bought and saved that money on. He handed me down his old guitar. He gave the bottle another pull. Said all I need are the sun and the stars, and every once in a while my belly to be full. Besides I'm wood, many call an old man. I've lived more than I got left. Write a song for me and the sons of the sea, so those that care will not forget. He said write about the old Gulf fishermen, how we held out as long as they could. For those of us that fish by instinct, we built our boats out of wood. Well, I sat down with my fountain pen. I tried to capture his life in my mind. About a man of the sea, born in Steenhatchee. He died on his boat back in '79. He was a different kind of a sailor, a different sea from a different time. You know, Zachariah Creech was an old Gulf shrimper. Zachariah Creech was a friend of mine. Yeah, he looked to be as old as the water that had etched his face in mine. The Gulf was his mother, the wind was his father. Zachariah Creech was a friend of mine.
That's it, yeah.
Folks, God bless each and every one of you. If you don't believe that way, then we'll just think good about you and pray someday maybe you understand why we do that. And thank you all so much for supporting this wondrous festival. Thank you for having us back another year. Thank you for allowing Frank and I to double up our time together so we could cover each other there. We've had a wonderful time. And like I say, stay by because they got a lot of music today. Thank you so much, and thank you again, Dale, for giving us that good sound.
Now there's something else.